And third grade, it is awesome to see you. I'm seeing so many smiling faces, and I hope you guys had a great long weekend with Thanksgiving. We are actually not going to bucket drum today. We're going to take a little bit of a pause on that. We will come back to it, but not this week. This week, we are going to be diving into the Nutcracker. Okay, so we're going to be going on a Nutcracker adventure, but today we're going to kind of learn a little bit about the backstory of the Nutcracker and the story itself of the Nutcracker, and then we're going to be going on an adventure starting on Friday. So I'm super excited about it. I've been working on this really hard, and I hope that you guys really enjoy it. So we're going to get started. I'm going to sing hello. I want you guys to sing hello after me, and away we'll get going. Okay, me first. Hello, boys and girls. Yes, and of course, I love to see all of those hands moving up and down, showing me those high sounds and those low sounds. And I do see in the chat, someone asks, is it a book? And actually, that's a great question, and we are going to get to that during my little, I'll call it a presentation, but it's a little thing that I've put together for us. So you know what? We're just going to get started, and this is something that you guys can also find in my virtual classroom. So I'm going to share my screen with you so you guys can see what's going on. All right, and if you go to my music room, okay, if you go to my music room, you are going to see that over here on my bookshelf, I have something new. I have a little Nutcracker. I'm going to click on him, and he's going to take us somewhere fantastic. I have my very own Nutcracker room, complete with a working fireplace, some amazing snow outside, and look, my Nutcracker room even brought the snow to our house, right? We have our Nutcracker down here. We have the book of the Nutcracker over here. We have a little rocking horse. We have some presents. We have a picture of Peter Tchaikovsky himself. And we have a little gingerbread guy over here with the Christmas tree. Today, we are going to choose the Nutcracker. And away we go. This is our Nutcracker presentation. Oh, I don't want to go quite there yet. I want to make sure my screen's nice and big so you can see what's going on. And I want you to enjoy that beautiful Nutcracker music. All right, if you were listening to that at your house, you can always press on it to listen to it a little bit more. Oh. Boop. All righty. So we have Mrs. Porter and the Nutcracker Adventure, and you see that I have a little Bitmoji down here that says, yep, I'm along for the adventure. It's going to be so great. And away we go. So here we are in Mrs. Porter's music room, kind of getting ready for the day. And you can see I'm pulling in on my train because that's what I do every day, right? I don't take a car to school. I just drive a train right into my classroom. Kidding. But I am in my little fake music classroom, and we are getting ready to learn all about the Nutcracker. So the first thing I want to tell you guys about the Nutcracker is that it is a ballet. All right, it is a ballet. Now, I want to know what you guys know. Okay, so here's what I want. If you know what a ballet is, give me a thumbs up. If you've heard of a ballet before, but you don't really know what it is, but you've heard the name before, give me a thumbs to your side. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about at all, give me a thumbs down. It just lets me know what you guys know. Thumbs up, you totally know what it is. Thumbs to the side, you've heard about it, but you're not quite sure. Thumbs down, no idea. And there is no wrong answer to this. I'm just curious, who knows what? All right. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs to the side. A few thumbs up, several thumbs down. So this is a really, really good mix of some people know it, some people don't. And that's totally cool. My job is to kind of teach you, right? I'm the teacher. So we're gonna find out right now. A ballet is a fantastic presentation. All right. And in that presentation, we are going to tell a story. But in a ballet, it's really interesting because you can't talk during a ballet. There's no talking to tell a story. It can't be like an opera either, because in an opera, there's no talking, but everyone sings the story. So you still know what the story is. But in a ballet, there's no singing either. So in a ballet, they have to tell a story by not talking, and they have to tell a story by not singing. So what are they going to do? They're going to tell us a story by dancing. And those are probably my best dance moves. So there you go. You got to see. I'll show you them one more time. Mrs. Porter's best dance moves right there. So in a ballet, you are going to be telling a story through dance and music. All right. And in specifically ballet, it is a certain type of dance. Oftentimes, you see a lot of ballet dancers or ballerinas that are going to be dancing on their tiptoes. All right. And that is a certain, very specific kind of dance just for ballet. So if we keep going, I said, okay, well, there's dancing and there's music, and we have often covered different composers in music. And remember, a composer is someone that writes the music. The person that wrote the music to the Nutcracker, he is super famous, and his name is Peter Tchaikovsky. Can you say Peter? Just say Peter for me. Super easy name. Super easy name. Now say Tchaikovsky. That's a little harder. Everyone say chai. Say kov. Say ski. Say Tchaikovsky. Yeah, Tchaikovsky. There we go. Say Peter Tchaikovsky. Ooh, I even like that people were using their hands. Who is that down there? Is that Gia? Yeah, I saw Gia. I saw a few other people doing their hands too. Try Peter Tchaikovsky. Yes. When you bounce your hands, it makes it nice and light and kind of bubbly, and it makes it easier for us to say. Peter Tchaikovsky. Yes, yes, yes. And Peter Tchaikovsky lived a very long time ago. He lived in the 1800s, and he lived very far away. He was from Russia, and Russia is all the way on the other side of the world by China. All right, so Russia is super far away, but he was writing music in the 1800s all the way on the other side of the world. All right, and he was the person, Peter Tchaikovsky was the person that wrote all the music for the Nutcracker. And if you look in this slide, you're going to see a few different things. The first thing is that you're going to see his picture over here, right? The black and white picture of him. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. And then next to it, it tells me that in 1892, that's when he wrote the music to the Nutcracker. And it was first performed in St. Petersburg, Russia, which I have a little star down here on the map to show you kind of where that is. All right. But there's more. How many of you have ever listened, or how many of you have ever watched a movie that was based on a book before? Has anyone ever seen a movie that was based on a book? If you have, tell me what it is in our chat. Oops. If you've ever watched a movie that was based on a book, tell me what it is in our chat. Ooh, Dr. Seuss, The Grinch. That is a great one. Dr. Seuss wrote The Grinch, and then lots of movies got made based on that book. Oh my gosh, that was a great one. Cinderella and Frozen the Ice Queen. Both of those were great movies. Both of them were based on a book that was written before them. Let's see. Oh, The Polar Express. Great one. Absolutely, that was a book. And now it's a very, very good Christmas time movie. Ooh, Harry Potter, great one. Harry Potter was lots of books and it got made into lots of movies. So you guys are totally understanding what I'm coming from here, right? Um, what I would love to do, oops, why do I keep doing that? Oh my goodness. What I want you guys to know now is that the Nutcracker, even though it started in 1892, the Nutcracker actually was based on a book too. Only in 1892, do you think that there were movies to go to? Could people just go to the movie theater in 1892? No. No, they couldn't go to the movies, so they would go see plays and ballets, and that's what they called the theater, right? They got to go see live performances, kind of like our concerts, and that was kind of like their movie. So they took the story of the Nutcracker, and it was called The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. And they took that story and they transformed it into something they could put on stage and they made it into a ballet. And I think that is super cool. It's kind of like the very first book that turned into a movie, only back in the olden times. All right. So here's what I want to do today. I would love, 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 love for us to watch. We're going to listen to not the whole Nutcracker today, but we're going to listen to part of a story of the Nutcracker so that we're all on the same page on what the Nutcracker is and what it's about and how that music happens. And starting on Friday, we will finish the Nutcracker and then we are going to be going on a Nutcracker adventure. And that's all we can say about that because the adventure is kind of fun and fantastic, and I don't want to give anything away. All right, so for right now, we are going to click on the Nutcracker and the Mouse King, and we are going to be watching that together. All right,
Drinking through her tears.
And then we will pick up where we left off next time. All right, so here we go.
One December night, a very long time ago, a little girl named Clara was celebrating Christmas Eve in a big way. She and her brother, their parents, and all her cousins and aunts and uncles, plus the neighbors and their kids, were all there, dressed up in their Christmas best. The house was all dressed up too. It was decorated with wreaths and stockings, mistletoe, and boughs of holly. Right at the center was an enormous Christmas tree, drooping under the weight of ornaments and shiny garlands. Velvet bows and silver bells, tiny gingerbread men and candy canes, and hundreds of twinkling lights. Under the tree, piles of presents. Most were tantalizing mysteries wrapped in their Christmas paper, but some were unwrapped and on display, like the stuff grown-ups gave each other. And the army of brightly painted soldiers in their red coats with gold buttons and shiny black boots. Clara and her brother Fritz and the cousins played under the tree, creating a military parade with their toy soldiers. Clara let out a little shriek when she noticed a little mouse peeking out of a hole in the wall. And when she saw it creeping toward a box of chocolates on the floor under the tree, she sprang up to grab them. She was putting the chocolates safely on the table when she heard the door. It was her godfather. She was so proud that he was her godfather. He was a very successful toy maker, and some people even said his toys were a little bit enchanted. But Clara didn't know about that. Her godfather actually had made the very toy soldiers that they'd just been playing with, and had them delivered earlier in the day, so Clara wasn't expecting any other gifts from him. But then, her godfather announced that he had one more toy for his goddaughter. a wooden nutcracker carved in the shape of a little toy soldier. He was painted just like the other soldiers, except he had a captain's hat and a captain's gold braid. Clara was immediately fascinated and held the nutcracker carefully. Fritz was jealous, thinking the nutcracker would make a spectacular addition to the parade under the tree. So he snatched the nutcracker out of Clara's hands, and when she tried to get it back, he and the cousins played keep away, sending the poor nutcracker flying from hand to hand all over Clara's head. She watched in horror as one toss missed its target and the nutcracker hit the floor, broken. Clara burst into tears, but her godfather patched the nutcracker back together with a handkerchief and patted Clara on the shoulder. There, he said. He'll be okay after a little rest. Clara thanked him through her tears and carried her wounded captain to a quiet corner. Fritz, meanwhile, was feeling pretty awful that he'd broken Clara's toy. He slunk out of the party with a plan in his mind. An hour later, he returned and shyly offered a little nutcracker-sized wooden bed to Clara. I made it for you, for him to rest in and, get better and stuff. Clara hugged him and said thank you. Then she tucked her nutcracker into his new little bed. As the last of the guests waved goodbye, Clara crawled beneath the tree to check on the nutcracker one last time, and ended up falling asleep right there, curled around the little bed under the Christmas tree. At the stroke of midnight, Clara woke up. She wasn't sure what time it was. Was it Christmas yet? Had Santa come? It was still dark out, so she knew it wasn't morning. She rubbed her eyes to try to see a bit more clearly. When she looked up at the Christmas tree, she noticed, to her surprise, that it seemed to be getting bigger. In fact, the tree, the presents, the whole room seemed to be getting bigger. Or was she getting smaller? Suddenly, Clara's size became the least of her worries. Out of nowhere, gigantic mice dressed up in army uniforms began to circle the room. Clara rubbed her eyes again. She then saw that, yes, there were indeed mice in army uniforms scurrying about the room, and furthermore, there seemed to be a mouse king leading them and giving them commands. Excuse me, Clara called out. Excuse me, mice! Who are you battling exactly? Then she looked over to see that her nutcracker had also come to life-size life, and he had grouped the other toy soldiers into a battle formation to fight the mouse army. The toy soldiers were outnumbered, but they fought the mice bravely as the Mouse King and the Nutcracker captain faced off in a one-on-one sword fight. The rest of the mice closed in around the king and the Nutcracker, biting at his feet and making him stumble. Clara could see that the Mouse King was just about to deliver a terrible blow when she made a desperate move to save her Nutcracker. She threw her slipper at the Mouse King. It hit him directly on the head, leaving him dizzy and stunned. Now an easy target for the Nutcracker. He proclaimed victory and thanked his troops, and the mouse army picked up their dazed king and carried him away. Clara had been hiding under the Nutcracker's bed, which now seemed to look more like a sleigh than a bed. Snow was falling, which was weird because they were indoors. And the snow wasn't cold somehow, but boy, was it sparkly. She looked over at her Nutcracker and did a little double take. He was still dressed in his red and gold soldier's uniform, but instead of a round wooden head and painted eyes, she saw a handsome young prince. The prince helped Clara into the magical sleigh, and it began to move deeper into the forest, while the most beautiful snowflakes she'd ever seen danced and swirled all around them. The snowflakes led them all the way through the snow forest into what appeared to be an entire kingdom made of desserts. Everywhere, desserts, sweets, candies, every imaginable treat, cake, candy, and confection you could possibly think of. There were mountains of immense chocolate cookies topped with whipped cream whiter than snow, glittering flowers made out of sugar and buttercream frosting everywhere she looked. As the sleigh came to a stop, Clara heard what sounded like the tinkling bells of a music box, the kind with a tiny perfect ballerina who danced on the tip of her toes. And then she saw the perfect ballerina. She looked like she was covered in tiny diamonds, but Clara realized with surprise that her dress and tiara and even her shoes were made from sparkling white sugar. She was the Sugar Plum Fairy, and she invited them to a grand feast to welcome them to the Kingdom of Sweets. Clara and the prince were seated on a huge plush rug on the floor, and then the dancing began. Dancers from Spain spun into the room. Leaping and twirling as they brought the guests mugs filled with hot cocoa made from rich Spanish chocolate. Arabian women in veils danced like rising steam as they offered Clara and the prince hot Arabian coffee. Chinese dancers delivered Mandarin tea. Then, Russian men in fur hats and loud boots sprang into the room to deliver candy canes. Sweet shepherdesses with blonde braids and rosy cheeks brought their gift of the almond sugar known as marzipan.
All right, everybody. I had to stop there because we only have 2 minutes left of our music class. I can't even believe it. But we will pick up where we left off for next time. There's only about 2 or 3 minutes left, and then we'll be going on our Nutcracker adventure. All right, and I will give you a hint. I have a feeling the Mouse King might come to get me. That's all I can say. All right. Yeah! But it's going to be fun. I think that we'll enjoy it, and then we'll be moving around a little bit next time. So make sure you have your music kits with you on Friday. Also make sure that you can move a little bit. So wear some comfy clothes because you'll be maybe getting up, standing up and moving, and we'll be moving and grooving. So I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be a little bit of everything on Friday, and I will see you then. So I'm going to say goodbye. I want you guys to go ahead and say goodbye, but I want to make sure that you are also using your hands. All right, I should see them going high and low. And then we'll call it a day. I'll see you Friday. All right, me first. Goodbye, boys and girls. Your turn. All right, everybody. Have a great day. I will see you guys on Friday. See you guys later. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye.